Howdy, I'm Gabby the Clown, and today I'm going to be talking about something that I discovered semi-recently, and has very rapidly taken over a large portion of my brain. Metal Family, an indie cartoon here on YouTube. I didn't even know this thing existed until 2 months ago, and it's one of my favorite things right now, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited to talk about it. I'm gonna try to keep my thoughts a little bit organized, but I'm really freaking excited. So there's probably gonna be a little bit more stuttering than usual because I tend to stutter a lot more when I'm really excited. So yeah. Spoilers for Metal Family, the entire series, and the extra content, the Q&As and stuff. And also, my videos are not for kids, so if you're under 18, please leave, go away, vanish to the Shadow Realm for all eternity. With all that out of the way, let's get started talking about Metal Family. So Metal Family is a cartoon created by a very, very, very tiny team based in Russia. And from what I've seen, the creators are actually really cool. And I want to get this out of the way real quick, because I've seen, some people get, kind of harassed for watching this show, oh, you're supporting Russia, and, no. So, watching a cartoon made by, 2 people that just so happen to live in Russia is not the same as supporting the Russian government. That would be like saying watching, an indie cartoon based in America is the same as supporting Trump, and that's it's just stupid. And from what I've seen, the creators seem to be really cool people. I could be wrong, but because it's kind of hard to keep track because they speak Russian and I don't. But from what I've seen and heard, they seem to be pretty cool people. There is some funny things that come from it taking place from it being made in Russia. The censorship is a little funny sometimes. They can curse and they can curse and stuff, but they have giant black censor bars over alcohol bottles sometimes, and it's really funny. It's just really kind of inconsistent, and it's very funny. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way because it's stupid to me. I obviously supporting something that just happens to be made by people who live in a country that's that's currently under the rule of terrible people doesn't mean that you support the terrible people. You know what I mean? It's dumb. Anyway, yeah. So Metal Family, talking about the actual show now, like I said, it's based in Russia, but there is, an official English dub. I usually watch it in the dub, mostly because it's, I like to listen to things, and it's easier to just kind of listen to it, when I can understand what they're saying. But I feel like this is one of those rare times where, the dub and the original are equally as good, in my opinion anyway. I feel especially Glam, who's kind of arguably the main character, at least currently, I feel his voice is almost exactly the same in Russian and English, except the only difference is the language that they're speaking. It's 2 completely different voice actors, but the guy who does the English dub does a really good job of kind of mimicking how the voice that the Russian actor does. It's really cool. I think there's only 2 voices where I prefer the original. So there's a character named Chive, but also in Russian it's Ches. I don't really know why it's different. But I'm sure there's a reason, but I just don't know it. So in the Russian dub, he's actually voiced by one of the creators of the show, and it's really cool. And I think his voice suits the character just a tiny bit better than the English dub, but the English dub is also still really good. I just slightly prefer the original for this character. And then there's Victoria, who is Glam's wife, and she's really badass. And I don't really know what happened. So originally, her voice actress was like really good, and it fit the character perfectly, in my opinion. So I could watch either one. But for some reason, in like some of the newer episodes and like the English dub of the Q&A, she has like a completely different voice that just sounds really awkward. The voice actress is doing a good job. It's just like I feel like the original voice just suited her so much better. I don't really know what happened with that, but so yeah, now I prefer the original for Victoria. But with every other character, it's pretty much equal, honestly. Actually, I kind of prefer English Heavy, because he sounds a little bit more like a kid than the original. Only like slightly though, because they're both clearly adults doing kid voices, but the English sounds slightly more like a kid to me, especially because Heavy is voiced by the same guy who voices Chive, and you can kind of hear it in the original Russian. The Russian original. But anyway, yeah, the voice acting is really good, in either way. The voice acting is actually one of like the biggest highlights of the show, because it's just really freaking good. Like no matter what version you listen to, like there isn't really like a bad way to watch it. I don't know if there actually is, but I've heard that there's a Spanish dub as well. I haven't watched it because I don't really have a reason to, because I don't speak Spanish. So I can't speak to its quality, but that is also available if you want to watch it that way. Another cool thing about watching the show is seeing how the animation just gets better every episode, and how like the art style like changes subtly. Like you can see it especially with Glam. Like he's drawn in like the first episode, he looks so much different than how he does in the most recent episode. And it's really interesting. Like I love watching art styles like evolve over time. It's so cool. I think both art styles are really good. I don't really have a preference. I think it's both. I think all of it's really good. It's just really cool, like watching someone like develop their style over like however many years this has been out. Because apparently it's been out for a while, and I just never heard of it until like 2 months ago. Like I had no idea this thing existed until like I started randomly getting recommended clips of it. Like as I was like a day before I moved. So yeah, I've only known about the show since like late September, and I'm already so in love with it. It's so endearing. I don't know what it is either. Like I like all the characters, and like I like the story. I like how they interact with each other. The voice acting is really good. The music, dude. So the title Metal Family does not disappoint at all. Like the music in this show is so good, dude. Alex Voss, I hope I'm saying his last name right. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, he makes the music, and he's so good at it. Like so in the show there's Glam and Chive were part of a band in their 20s called well, okay, there's like 7 names for it. So in Russian it's those freaks on stage, and then in English it's those monsters on stage. But between you and me, I've never heard anyone call them those monsters on stage, not even like people who exclusively watch the English dub. So I will call them those freaks on stage, because that's the only name I know them by, ironically outside of the actual show itself. Anyway, so there's that fake band in the show, and they actually made music for it, and it's really good, dude. They actually made one in English that was sung by like the original Russian voice actor for Chive, and he did a really freaking good job. Like I can't, like he's like playing guitar and like singing in a different language. Like that's gotta be hard. Like so props to I think his name is Dima. I hope I'm saying that right again. I don't speak Russian, so I'm sorry. But yeah, props to him. Like it's yeah, the song that's in English is called Smells Like Cherry. And that's the first I think that I'm trying to remember what exactly I saw that made me want to watch the show. I think it was a music video for this song. I know it was a music video of some kind. I don't remember which song it was, though. I think it was this one, but anyway. This was my favorite song for a little bit, but then I found out that they had more songs that were actually made. They had, like, a full album, and it's really good. So now my favorite is actually Pathologist. Dude, I've never really had the desire to go to a concert or anything like that. I always thought it kind of seemed like stressful, like being like in a big crowd of people like screaming at each other seemed a little stressful. This song makes me want to like go to a concert and see this thing played live. I like this thing, like, dude, I like this is like, you know how like some songs make you like bang your head like a rock star? This is one of those songs that makes me like da-na-na-na, like you can't really see it, but I'm banging my head back and forth. Yeah, this song is just so freaking good. I can't understand, well, okay, I was gonna say I can't understand a word they're saying, and I can't, but there's a channel called, I think, Heavy Bar, who does like English subtitles for like the things that never got dubbed over, like the songs, so I can actually know what they're saying. So yeah, shout out to that channel. Thank you for letting me understand what my favorite song is actually saying. But yeah, if you don't watch the show, at least listen to the songs. Smell Like Cherry and Pathologist are my two high recommendations. I love them so much. Oh, by the way, going back to that concert comment, apparently, the voice actors and, like, the fake band, actually, like, did, like, a couple, like, live concerts, and I've seen videos of it. It looked so fun, dude. Like, they all dressed up as their characters, and, like, they played the songs. Obviously, it's a freaking concert, but they were, like, in character the whole time. It's so cool, dude. Dude, the one time I would go to Russia, like, I would never go to Russia, at least not, currently, but that's, like, the one reason I would ever go to Russia, is to, like, see them playing live, because that, dude, it's freaking awesome. Anyway, I have to move on, because I haven't even talked about the actual show yet. I'm still just talking about, like, stuff around the show. I'm gonna talk about, the characters now, because the characters are the best part of the show. Outside of the music and literally everything else I just rambled about. I want to talk about Glam so bad, but I'm gonna save him. I'm gonna save him a little bit, because he's my favorite. One of my favorite characters is Heavy. He's like the youngest in the family. He actually reminds me a lot of my youngest brother. I don't know if that's just because I miss my family after moving, but yeah, he reminds me a lot of my youngest brother. Just how he like acts. Like, so when he's with like his family or people that he's like super comfortable around, he'll be like kind of rambunctious and like really energetic and like kind of loud. But then when he's like with adults or like people he respects. He's very polite. And he's just a very endearing kid. I like him a lot. He's adorable. He's actually the first character that we ever see in the show. So he's kind of like our introduction to this world. So the first episode is called Father to School. And it's basically just Heavy having to like ask his dad Glam to go talk to his teachers because his teachers are fucking insane, and they like cut off a chunk of his hair because his hair is that horrible, disgusting long hair. And so Glam is understandably like pissed, but like he has such like a strange I'm gonna okay. I'm gonna talk about Glam a little bit. Indulge me, please. But so Glam is like pissed off, but he doesn't get like loud or like angry about it. Like he just kind of like smiles and go like, "Oh, okay, I'll go take care of it." And he gets all dolled up. And he goes to talk to the teachers, and when they're like, "Oh, it's not normal for a boy to have long hair or whatever." Glam's like, "Oh, so it's normal to cut off my kid's hair?" And they're like, well, yeah, so there. And he's like, "Oh, okay." And then he sets off a glitter bomb and like, just like leaves, and it's fucking awesome. I love Glam. Anyway, but yeah, that's the introduction to Heavy, is him, having to get his dad to like, take care of his teachers for him, and then, like, a couple, like, I don't really know exactly how much time passed, but I assume, like, a week, maybe. Anyway, unspecified amount of time goes by, and then, like, his teachers are, like, yelling at him again about the same stuff, and they're like, "I need your parents here right now," and he's like, "Oh, you want my dad again?" And they're like, No, anyone but your dad." Little do they know, that his dad was the reasonable one. So they're like, "Oh yeah, bring your mom," and she shows up to school with a sledgehammer. I love Victoria too. I love all these characters so much. They're so fun. But yeah, I like Heavy a lot. He's definitely the most, normal, I guess. Like, all of the other characters, they're not one-dimensional at all, but you can kind of, like, it's hard to explain. So, at least at first glance, most of the characters are somewhat one-dimensional, and like kind of like caricatures, I guess. At least like that's how they seem like the first time you see them. Like, oh, Glam is like the kind of weird, like smiley, goofy goober. And D is like angsty teenager who's like super smart and thinks he's cool. And Victoria is like super aggressive biker chick, with a sharp temper. And then Heavy is just Heavy, and I love that for him. He's so normal, like, at least, like, comparatively. Like, he likes playing video games. His favorite movies are ones with superheroes. He likes Marvel movies. His favorite, scary movies are the ones with cool monsters. Like, he wants, like, a Hulk cake for his birthday. Like, he's so normal compared to, like, everyone else in the show. And I love that about him. Like, he's just a kid. And that's really sweet. He's very endearing. And then, like, in the second episode, we see him, like, get into a fight with this giant kid, over, like, disagreeing about music. Like, he told this kid that he hates rap, and then the kid, like, beat him to a pulp. And then D tries to intervene, and then, like, the kid beats both of them up. And rather than being, like, upset, Heavy's just kind of embarrassed that he couldn't win in a fight. So, and he's not, like, discouraged about it, he's just like, "Oh, I'm gonna get strong, like my mom." So yeah, he's so endearing, and he's so sweet. He's always like, really, like, happy. He definitely takes after his dad a lot more than than you would assume, just kind of based on how they look, because he definitely looks the most like his mom, but, I've seen people say that, like, Heavy got Glam's personality, and his mom's, strength. Like, he got, like, his dad's personality in terms of, like, being really optimistic, and, like, having a very strong, like, creative drive, and, like, he just got his mom's, like, being strong, I guess. And D was kind of the reverse. He got, his dad's smarts and his, but his mom's, like, temper, because, like, he gets so easily frustrated about things, and it's really funny. But yeah, Heavy, probably one of my favorites. He's very sweet, and I love him a lot. Absolutely adorable. And I hope we get to see more of him, because, at least in the fandom, he doesn't really get, a lot to do, outside of, like, especially compared to D. Like, D is, like, the fandom's darling. Everyone loves D. Well, not everyone, but, like, he's definitely a the fan favorite. So yeah, I would like to see more Heavy love, please, because he's really sweet, and he's really endearing. And yeah, speaking of D, I'm gonna move on to him now, because I don't really have much else to say about Heavy, other than he's cool, and I like him. So D is, like, at first glance, he's, like, he's, like, super cool, and, like, unbothered. He's, like, kind of stoic, and he's, like, really smart. So, like, the first episode we see him in is, like, the second episode, I think, where he's helping kids cheat for money, because he's, like, stupidly smart, and he takes advantage of that, by helping other kids cheat in exchange for money and stuff, in exchange for, like, money and favors and other stuff. He's kind of got, like, a little hustle, and he's got, like, multiple phones, and, like, he's, like, ooh, so suave, I guess. But he's actually just such a huge dork. And what I love about the show is that it doesn't try to make D seem cooler than he actually is. You know what I mean? Like, D definitely thinks that he's, like, an anime protagonist. Like, no, he wants to be, like, an anime villain, like, super cool, like, stoic and mysterious, and, like, ooh, so smart, nobody could guess that. He thinks he's so cool, but then, like, you see that he has a crush on this girl, and, like, he's, like, sending, like, really, like, awkward, voice messages, and calls himself the Dark Prince online. And he's just such a huge dork, and he secretly, like, loves My Little Pony, and his favorite's Rarity, and I'm honestly so much more endeared to D than I would have been, than I initially thought I would be, cause, like, from what I saw from the fandom, so, I didn't watch the show right away after I found out that it existed, like, I just kept getting recommended clips, and, like, fan art started popping up everywhere, because I was engaging with the clips, I was getting recommended fan content, and, like, from what I was seeing from the fan content, like, I thought he was gonna be, like, Sasuke, I guess, like, where he's, like, or he thinks he's, like, all that, and, like, he's treated as being, like, really cool by the narrative, and, like, just kind of, like, edgy, and, like, you know what I mean? And I really don't like those kind of characters, but no, he actually ended up being a massive dork, and I'm much more endeared to him than I initially would have expected. Yeah, he's kind of a loser, and I love that, and it's really funny seeing him try to, like, act cool, but, like, he has such a temper. Like, he gets so frustrated with things so quickly, and it's really funny. I think one of the earliest instances that shows, like, how easily annoyed he is the poker episode, which I think is episode 3. It's either episode 3 or 4, I don't fully remember, but I think the poker episode might be one of my favorites. And you can really see how, like, easily annoyed he is by, like, random things. When Victoria is, like, explaining how to play poker, Heavy's like, wow, I didn't know that, and Dee just, like, keeps getting, like, more annoyed with him for not knowing how to play poker, even though he's, like, 14. Like, it only takes, like, twice for Dee to be, like, to, like, snap at him and be like, oh, come on, you didn't know that? Like, he's such a know-it-all. Like, he thinks he's so much cooler than he is, and that's hilarious. He's so funny. But yeah, I like Dee quite a bit. He's not my favorite character, by any stretch. I think he's probably my least favorite of the family, actually. But that doesn't really mean anything. That's like saying, that's like saying, like, oh, this cake is slightly less good than all these other cakes. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I'm not explaining it super well, but, yeah, saying he's my least favorite of the family doesn't mean that I don't like him. It just means that, like, I like all the other ones just a bit more. But yeah, I do like Dee. Way more than I thought I was going to, initially. But he won me over by being a total loser. And, like, oh, one of my favorite Dee moments is from, the Q&A. So almost all the characters got, like, a little Q&A where people could ask them questions, and then it was, like, animated and, like, responded to, which I think is really cool. But anyway, at the end of Dee's Q&A, one of the questions is, like, can you order us a pizza or something like that? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that right now. And then when the pizza arrives, Victoria's like, who the fuck ordered a pizza? And Glam's like, oh, it's okay, we'll just send it back. And then Dee, like, runs out of his room. He's like, no, that's my pizza. And they're like, why did you order a pizza? You used our credit card to get a pizza? And he's like, no, I'll pay you back. Please don't send my pizza away. It's like, he's such a loser. And, like, I like that they treat him like a teenager, you know? Like, I feel like a lot of media, especially cartoons that, like, have teenagers in them, don't really treat the teenagers like teenagers. Like, I feel like teenagers in media are often kind of more treated like adults. They're either treated like adults or like children. Like, at least in media that I've seen, I feel like very rarely do teenagers really get to, like, act like teenagers, like, be, like, think that they're cool and then, like, actually be, like, a total loser. You know what I mean? And, like, be cringe and, like, kind of be lame, and kind of fumble around, not really sure what to do with yourself. So I really appreciate this show for that. But yeah, those are all my thoughts on Dee, at least currently. Yeah, I don't really have a ton to say about him outside of appreciating, the accuracy to being a teenager. So now I'm gonna talk about, Victoria. I like her a lot. She is Glam's wife. She's the mom. And she's one of my favorite characters in the whole show. I feel like I've said that for every character, but it's true, they're all good. So, anyway, Victoria is, so we don't know a ton about her yet, at least in terms of, like, backstory and stuff, but, she's really cool. She's so cool. And she's very hot, but, anyway, so she's kind of the opposite of, like, a typical, like, cartoon mom. She's, like, polar opposite. She has, okay, sorry, I'm trying to form my thoughts. I'm trying to put my thoughts into words. So Victoria is, she's like this big biker chick. She's super strong. Actually, I feel like the first episode with her, actually does a very good job of basically saying who she is. And I kind of I love Victoria so much. But anyway, if I remember correctly, the first episode where we actually like get to see her outside of like the ending of the first episode where she shows up to school with a sledgehammer, which also does a very good job of setting up her character. If I remember correctly, the first episode where we really get to see her, is Stasic Contra, where this YouTuber is like harassing people, like and telling them to put out their cigarettes, like, hey, you can't smoke here, and then like they like put out their cigarettes for them, like with a little squirt bottle. And then he tries that with Victoria, who's like coming out of a restaurant with D. And then she tells him, hey, back off, buddy. And he's like, you can't do that here, aren't you ashamed? And then like she just immediately punches him in the face. And she like breaks their cameras, and she annihilates them. And then at the police station, I feel like Victoria's a lot smarter than people give her credit for. Like, a lot of the times people is like, oh, Victoria's so stupid, she's like a meathead. Which is not true, in my opinion. She's not as smart as Clam, but that's not really a fair comparison, because Clam is like freaking super genius, like it's insane. Bro's like BBC Sherlock levels of intelligence, like, it's wild. Anyway, but she's so smart in certain situations, like, in this situation, she knows that, like, as a woman, like, people aren't gonna take her as seriously, like, they're gonna be a little less likely to believe that she, like, just punched, like, this guy for no reason, and she knows that, so she's like, so this pervert came up to me and my son, and I'm a lone woman with a child, and I don't know what they're gonna do to me, so I guess instincts just took over, and I was just defending myself, and she's so smart, and it almost works, just on its own, but then they have to, like, check the camera footage from, like, when they were recording, just to double check, but they kind of already believe her, and I think one of my favorite, like, things in this episode is, one of the police officers goes over to, one of the goons, I guess, and is like, okay, can we get a statement from one of the other guys? And they're like, oh, he can't speak, his jaw is broken, and Victoria kind of, like, smiles, like, at the camera, like, kind of, like, mischievously, like, kind of, like, smugly, she's like, yeah, I broke that guy's jaw, and then the police officer's like, oh, okay, well, can he write something down? And the guy's like, nope, he can't write, his arm is broken too, and then Victoria's smile gets, like, even bigger, and that's so cool, she's so badass, anyway, and then when they, check the camera footage, it turns out that D, hacked into it and kind of, and replaced all the footage that would incriminate Victoria as having kicked the shit out of these guys, mostly unprovoked, yeah, he replaced it with, like, a music video and, an adult video, to be polite, and they get off scot-free, and I love Victoria. She's like, how about some compensation for our trouble? So she gets paid too. Not only does she not get in trouble for beating the shit out of a bunch of guys, she also gets money, and it's awesome. I love her so much. She's so cool, and she has such a hot temper, and it's really fun. Like like in the poker episode again is probably one of my favorite episodes. It has so many good moments. After they're dealt everything, she's like, okay, the most important part of poker is hiding your emotions. And then she looks at her cards and they look like they're gonna be really bad. And she's like, what the fuck is this? And she like freaks out and it's awesome. And she's like, oh, whatever, I'm gonna go get a beer. Fuck this. And then when she comes back, it turns out that her cards were actually really good and she would have won if she hadn't folded. And she gets even more upset. And then later on in the episode, she gets like a really good hand, and she's like, oh darn, what terrible cards I have. And it's so obvious. I love her so much. And then, a couple episodes later, we get to see her biker club, and meet her friends, I guess. And she's, like, having this competition with this huge guy. I think his name is Bugs. I think his name's Bugs. I'm just gonna call him that. I could be wrong. And she's having this competition with this guy. And everyone's betting on them. And we get to meet one of her friends, Anna, who's, like, literally just an angry lesbian, and I love her. She hates Glam so much. And it's kind of funny. It's so obvious how much Anna is in love with Victoria, and honestly, same girl. She's hot. Like, who wouldn't love her? But yeah, we meet Anna, and Heavy, like, shows up to the club, to get her to give him a ride home because he lost his keys and there wasn't anyone at home to let him in. So he has to kind of wait for her to, finish this competition, and she ends up winning, and she wins, like, I don't remember exactly how much, but it was a lot of money. It was, like, it was in the thousands, I'm pretty sure. But then it turns out that, she and, Bugs were, like, working together, to scam everybody. They had everybody bet on her, so she would, like, win, like, a ton of money. And then she would split it with everybody. Then she would split it with, herself, Bugs, and Anna. But then Heavy, bless his soul, is like, hey, you can't scam them, they're your friends, it's not honest. And she's like, they're not my friends, it's fine. And he's like, well, should you really be riding your bike? You were drinking. And she's like, it was non-alcoholic, don't worry about it. And then, the escape room episode. I freaking love the escape room episode. I think it's probably another one of my favorite episodes. So at first she and Glam are on a team, and she's, like, trying to solve the puzzle, and she's, like, staring at a wall, like, trying to figure out, like, if she should, like, pull on bricks, and, like, if there's any, like, secret buttons. And in the background you just see Glam, like, solving the entire thing, on his own. But then when he solves it, he's like, Vicky, you did it! And she's like, heh, yeah, I know, I'm cool. But then they immediately end up getting separated, and she gets paired up with Heavy instead. And they're trapped in a room, and at, like, the beginning of the escape room, they were told that you won't need to use physical strength. If anything needs to be moved, it'll just be, like, sliding it, or, like, pressing a button. You don't need to, like, take anything off the wall or anything. But Victoria does not care. So she, like, rips, like, a mallet off the wall, and, like, starts, breaking down a wall. Like, she just starts hammering into, like, a wall to escape. And they have to, like, send somebody in to stop her, but she and Heavy are, like, convinced that this is actually how you have to solve the escape room. So then when the guy, like, comes to try and, like, get them to, like, knock it off, she, like, gives Heavy this, like, big speech about, we have to solve this together. If we lose, everyone does. And she, like, gives him the hammer to, like, finish making a hole in the wall, and she, like, holds the guy back from, like, coming to, like, stop them. And then she, like, breaks through the wall, and then when she, like, lands on the ground outside, like, she gets, like, smacked in the face with, like, some bricks falling down, like, she gets hit in the face and the throat, and she just walks it off. Like, she's so strong, dude! Oh my gosh. Like, she gets, like, smacked in the face and throat with bricks, and she, like, fell from, like, a 2-story building with, like, and she just walks away. Like, she doesn't even care. Like, she's so cool. I love her so much. But then, like, it turns out Glam and Dee, like, beat them by, like, a lot. And she's like, what? How'd you break the wall before us? And Dee's like, oh, Mom, you didn't need to break the wall. But then Glam's like, he puts a hand on Dee's shoulder and is like, don't you dare. And he's like, well, we just had to solve different challenges. So Glam is very clear, like, of the happy wife, happy life mentality. Oh yeah, another thing I love about Victoria is her relationship with Glam. So Glam and Victoria have what I like to call the Gomez and Morticia relationship, where it's two people who love each other so much, and it makes me so happy. I love how much they love each other. Like, dude, they're so in love, and I love them. Like, one of, like the only times where Victoria isn't, like, in her, like, tough, badass, mode is, like, whenever Glam compliments her, she gets all giggly and blushes, and it's so cute. Like, in one episode, they're going to, like, his dad's funeral, or, like, will reading or whatever, and she has to, and they both have to dress formally, and she has to wear a dress, and she's, like, kind of pissed about it, and she's like, how do I look? And she flexes, and he's like, ooh, you're so intimidating, and she, like, giggles and blushes, and it's so sweet. Yeah, I love them. Yeah, I love Victoria, and I love Glam, and now I can talk about Glam, because I've gone through all the family members, with all that I had to say about them, so now I can talk about Glam, and he's my favorite, and I'm also in love with him, but that's not important. So Glam, is kind of like the main character, at least currently. We know the most about him. We've gotten, like, 2 backstory episodes for him, at least so far. The next episode is supposed to be, more backstory for him and Victoria, which I'm very excited about. But anyway, Glam. So, Glam is the second first character we ever see in the show. He's the father in Father to School, the first episode. And like I said in Heavy Section, he expresses, he handles things quite a bit differently from Victoria, so, like, where Victoria would get violent, he just kind of, like, smiles, and then, like, leaves a freaking glitter bomb, and, like, ruins the classroom. Like, he doesn't need to, like, do much. He already kind of unnerves people, which I can get. Like, he's very intense. He's very intense. And I would say he's always smiling, but that's not really true, but, he's kind of always smiling. Almost always. It's just because he's happy. Like, honestly, like, some people might think that his like, smiling all the time is insincere. Personally, I think he's just really happy. Like, so, he had, like, a horrible childhood, but then, like, life just kind of but then after he met Chive, and, like, decided to run away and start a band, life got a little bit better, and then it got a little bit worse, after Chive started struggling with addiction and stuff, which sucks. Then he didn't even meet Victoria, so, him and Victoria's love story, he was at a cafe, and then he saw her, riding on her bike, like park her bike out, right outside, and, like, steal a hot dog, and he fell in love immediately. Like, he was immediately, like, smitten, and, like, life just kept getting better from there for him, and, like, at this point, I feel like he's probably the happiest he has ever been. Like, he's with the woman he loves more than anything in the universe, and he's got 2 kids who he loves more than anything in the universe. His best friend is in a much better place. Like his best friend is mostly sober. I don't think I would say I don't think he does drugs anymore, but I feel like it's probably just limited to pot now if he does anything. Chive is in a much better place. He's much healthier now. Anyway, but yeah, so I feel like Glam smiling all the time is sincere, because I do feel like it's sincere. I think he's just genuinely really happy with how his life is, and yeah, I'm really happy for him. Like, he had such a horrible life, for so long. So his backstory, he grew up in a rich family, and his dad was literally like a piece of garbage beneath my feet, who I'm glad he's dead. I shed no tears. No one shed a tear when he died. Like, I doubt anyone gave a shit, outside of, like, seeing who got what of his money. Like, anyway, yeah, his dad was a piece of shit. Outside of being verbally abusive, and just terrible, he also, like, would, like, slap, Glam's wrist with a ruler, like, to the point where he still, like, has scars to this day, I'm pretty sure. Like, I would be shocked if he didn't. Like, I'm pretty sure that's why he always wears, like, armbands or, like, bracelets or something to, like, cover up his wrists. Like, there's no way that that didn't scar, like, yeah, anyway, it's horrible, is what I'm saying. Like, he would get beat for, like, doing a good job at things. Like, it's terrible. And he was always being compared to his older sister Lydia. And Lydia kind of was a bit of a bully, but you also kind of understand why. Like, she's trying to keep him down so that she won't become the victim. Because if he's not around to be the punching bag, then it's gonna be her next. And she's fully aware of it. But she does. I'm a bit of a Lydia defender. Because, like, she's also a kid being raised in this horrible situation. But she does, try to help Glam a little bit, because he starts sneaking out at night, to play in a band with Chive after they met, like, at a dumpster. And she does help to keep this secret, until, the dad, kind of figures out that there's something going on, and he beats the shit out of her to tell him what's going on. And then after that, Glam decides not to go home, and he runs away. Justifiably. Unfortunately, Lydia stays behind, and most likely ends up, in the situation she was trying to avoid, which is becoming him. Yeah, it's just terrible. But thankfully, he's dead now, so he can't do anything. Fuck that guy. And Lydia ended up getting basically everything from the inheritance, except for, like, one thing that she really wanted, which was a yacht, and she's really pissed about it. So, but at the very end of the will reading, Glam's like, well, no surprises here, because he didn't get anything, and he's ready to leave. He only came because he kind of had to. But then, the guy reading the will is like, hey, actually, you did get something. It's called, he left you this box. And Victoria and Lydia are like, ooh, is that the yacht keys? And Lydia's like, oh, don't, if it's the yacht, I'm gonna take that from you in court. But Glam is just kind of shut down. He's stopped smiling. He's just kind of staring. He's kind of disassociating. But he takes the box because Victoria wants to see what's inside of it. And she's like, hey, have you opened that yet? And he's like, nope, I don't care about it. Because he doesn't want anything to do with his dad. Justifiably so. But he opens it because Victoria, again, really wants to know what's in there. And she doesn't know his backstory because he hasn't told her and she doesn't want to pry. And I hope he does eventually tell her because she needs to know. Well, I guess she doesn't need to know, but I don't know. Anyway. So he opens the box and it's like the smashed up remains of this little model town that Glam would secretly work on as a kid. It was like his one, like, thing outside of, like, music, which he was kind of forced to learn. It was like his one, like, little hobby that was just for himself. And the thing that his dad left to him was that smashed up into garbage. So they pull over and he throws it away. And he's kind of, he's upset, like visibly upset. But Victoria kind of comforts him, and because she doesn't really know what happened with his dad. She doesn't really know what this box means, because he doesn't want to talk about it, and she doesn't want to pry again. But she's like, it's fine. We don't need a stupid yacht. Where would we even keep it? And he's like, yeah. And he kind of cheers up a little bit. And yeah, they support each other. Like, I wouldn't say the relationship is 100% healthy, as much as I love them, because they really don't talk. I mean, they do talk. They just don't talk about, like, their history, I guess. And I guess you don't have to, but if it's something like what Glam went through, I really feel like you should be able to talk to your partner about that. And he can. He's able to. I think Victoria would 100% listen. But in his little Q&A, somebody asked him why he hasn't talked about what happened to him with his family. And he's like, they don't need to know. They're not interested. It's fine. And he's a bit hard to read because, again, he's always smiling, so it's a little hard to tell when he's actually happy or when he's, like, kind of masking, I guess. But, yeah, it's sad, but I have a very strong feeling that they'll eventually talk. Like, I can't imagine that they'll never talk about it. Like, I feel like, I don't know, it feels like it would be a very big waste to never have them talk to each other, or have Clam talk to anybody about what he's been through, because the only person who even has a little bit of knowledge of his past is Chive, because, he's the one who he ran away with. But yeah, I feel like he should talk to his family about it at some point. Oh, my voice is starting to give out. I've been talking for a while. I sound like I smoke cigarettes. Oh. Anyway, I didn't end up drawing him, but I still want to talk about him a bit. So Chive, or Ches, depending on which version you watch, I think he's one of the more interesting characters. I like him a lot. I like all the characters. I don't think there's any that I dislike outside of Glam's dad. And you're supposed to hate him, so I don't know. Anyway, so Chive, again, he's a very interesting character. So when we first meet him is the poker episode, which, for like the millionth time, is probably one of my favorite episodes. And he's kind. I love him. I love current day Chive. He seems to have, like, he's mellowed out in his old age, the ripe old age of 40 something. But yeah, he's the single word that I would use to describe him is a stoner. Like, he's definitely, like, chill, like, very chill. He's kind of, this is gonna sound like such a weird comparison, and I'm probably completely off with this. He kind of reminds me of Kakashi a little bit, just like a little bit, like especially like the first episode, especially in the poker episode, like Victoria's like, hey, where's Chive? And Glam's like, Super Genius Glam's like, oh, well, we were supposed to start at 5 o'clock, and now it's 5:30, so he'll probably be coming through the door in 5 minutes, with some excuse talking about helping an old lady cross the street. And then Dee's like, no way, you can't predict that. And then Chive immediately shows up. He's like, hey, dudes, you won't believe how many old ladies I had to help cross the streets. And then he's like, old ladies, they age like a fine wine, or something like that. That, like, single line about, like, old ladies being like a fine wine, like, if kind of, like, snowballed into the fandom, like, calling him, like, an old lady lover, I guess. I was trying to think of a polite way to say it. Which is very funny. But yeah, I like him. He's very silly. He also has, like, a very dark history. He's very similar to Glam in that way. Like, they've had horrible things in their lives, but at least now they seem to be, in a place where they're happy, where they're, like, actually, like, happy and content with themselves. At least from what we can see. Like, Chive seems to have, like, gone to therapy. Like, if you like, see the way he talks in his Q&A, like, he uses a lot of language that I feel like would be used in, like, rehab or, like, therapy. I haven't been to either, but it's just kind of the vibe I get. And I'm happy for him, cause, Chive's whole deal, was that he grew up extremely, like, poor in, like, this little shack with his mom, who, was, like, an alcoholic, and she was, like, she was always, like, just kind of sitting in front of the TV and, like, asking him to go get her beer. But he still loved her very much. When he has Glam over for the first time when they're kids, he kind of, like, she, like, throws a bottle at him and he kind of insults her. But then Glam insults her and he's like, hey, you don't get to talk to her, you don't get to talk about her like that, only I can do that. And he's, like, he's very protective of his mom. And it's very obvious that they've been through a lot. And, like, his dad definitely left them. In case it wasn't already obvious, the Q&A kind of spells it out. Somebody asks, what he thinks of his dad or something like that. And he's like, me and my dad have one thing in common. We don't give a shit about each other. And he gets kind of, like, upset. Which is kind of interesting, because, like, throughout the whole Q&A, he's kind of like, laid back and, like, just kind of chilling. Until, like, certain things get brought up. Like, if somebody brings up, his mom, or, like, mothers in general, he gets kind of upset. Like, somebody says, you're a good son, and he just kind of, like, grunts, and he kind of, like, doesn't really respond to that. And it's understandable, especially because after he and Glam ran away and became rock stars, it sucks, dude. Like, he ended up getting involved with substance abuse, as many, a rock star do. And just as he was, like, starting to kind of, like, get clean, because he needed to, like, Glam was helping him get clean, like, they flushed all his drugs down the toilet, and ended up clogging it, but yeah, as soon as he was, like, starting to, like, pull himself together, he gets a call that his mom died, and he never got to see her again. Like, it sucks, it's horrible. And after that, he ends up kind of relapsing, not necessarily to drugs, he just gets drunk, because he promised Glam that he wouldn't do drugs anymore, and he wanted to keep that promise. But he got shit-faced, and so Glam kind of helps him out of, or tries to help him out of this, but Chive, like, refuses to let Glam tell the band why he kind of ditched them and got drunk while they were supposed to be having a rehearsal, so they end up ditching him, which is kind of justified, because, like, as far as they're aware, he has been spiraling into substance abuse. Like, he hasn't been showing up for rehearsals, and when he does show up, he's too high to function. So they've been getting fed up, and they've been trying to give him chances. And then he ditches them and gets drunk. They don't know why, because, like, Chive doesn't want them to know for some reason. So they end up ditching him. And it's really sad, but again, it's understandable. But after that, Chive and Glam end up deciding to start their own band again, just the two of them, combining rock and violin, because Glam played the violin when he was younger, and he still loves it, but he never really got to do anything with it because it was rock. So yeah, he and Glam were gonna start, like, their own, like, little two-man band with guitar and violin. But then Glam ends up seeing Victoria, and he's like, well, I'm gonna go pursue this. And Chive's like, what the fuck? Because, throughout, like, their entire lives, like, Glam just kind of ignored women. Like, it was to the point where, like, everyone in the band, including Chive, thought he was gay. But then he shows up one day, he's like, I've met a lady. And Chive's like, what the fuck? And he's like, well, okay, so on your first date, what did you do? And Glam's like, oh, we didn't have a first date. We didn't even talk to each other, but she dropped her keys, and I'm gonna go find her and return them to her. And he's like, oh, okay, you're insane. So they end up having a falling out over that. And Glam asks Chive, like, are you sure this is what you really want? Like, do you really want to go keep being a rock star? Like, it's never really seemed to make you very happy. And then Chive kind of confesses, like, I don't really want to do this. Like, this isn't really making me happy, but then the stubbornness kicks in, and he's like, well, but I have to, because I want to be famous, and then he leaves. So he and Glam were kind of separated for, an unknown amount of time, because we don't really know exactly what happened between them after this. We know Glam, pursued Victoria, and then Chive ended up starting another band with a bunch of people he doesn't really care about or know. He signed on with a record label. And he started another band. He sold out, basically. He stopped being himself. So, like, with the other band, their old manager, like, kept trying to pressure him to be a little less himself. Like, to, dress differently, or, like, wear his hair different, to, like, look like other rock stars. And he refused, because he didn't want to be a sellout. He wanted to do stuff that made him happy. But now, he's kind of given up on being happy. He just wants to be famous. And I'm no psychiatrist. I'm no therapist, whichever one would be more appropriate here. I'm no mental health professional. But my personal diagnosis, I guess, is the reason that he still pursued being a rock star and being famous, even though he's miserable, is that he feels like the reason that he left his mom was to become famous. He was to become a famous rock star with his friends. And the reason he wasn't able to be there when she died, or even, like, be there at all for her outside of sending her money, was because he was busy trying to become a famous rock star. So I feel like in his head he thinks that if he doesn't succeed in becoming a famous rock star, then leaving his mom and then in his mind abandoning his mom will all be for nothing. Like, then it would have been pointless. And he doesn't want his mom dying. He doesn't want to not be there for his mom's death to mean nothing. That's just my take on it. I could be wrong, but that's just kind of how I viewed it. And it's really sad. And then he ends up having an overdose, and he almost dies, but he decides to stick around. Okay, so, while he's dying in the hospital, he has, like, that moment that sometimes happens in, like, cartoons and stuff, where people are dying, where he's, like, in this, cloudy white void, and he's, like, a kid again, and he sees his mom, like, calling to him, like, "Come here, son, it's okay." But he ends up deciding not to go to his mom yet, because he still has things to do. He has loose ends to tie up. He doesn't want to leave, his friends behind, even though he's kind of already ditched them. He realizes that he has stuff left to do. He still does have things worth living for. So he lives, he survives it. And we don't know exactly what happened after this. I feel like the next episode is gonna talk about it, hopefully. But my guess is that after this, this is most likely when he decided to go to rehab and stop pursuing this goal of being famous, because it's not making him happy, it's killing him, and he realizes that he's not ready to die yet. He still has things worth living for. Yeah, Chive is a very complex character. I think he's honestly, I think he's very well written, and I love him a lot. He's very complicated. Very messy, but yeah, I still really love him. And I'm glad that from what I'm able to tell anyway, he's in a much better place, and he's a lot healthier and happier than he has been possibly ever. So yeah. Yeah, those are all the characters that I really wanted to talk about, and yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I have to say about the show. I'm insanely excited for the next episode. I've heard that it's supposed to come out next year, hopefully early next year, because, apparently it was supposed to come out in December, but they ran out of time. It was supposed to come out this December, but they ran out of time. So I'm hoping that it'll be probably either January or February. I could be wrong. But that's my prediction, and I hope I'm right, because I want to see. Because, from what I've heard, it's, another backstory episode, this time focused on Victoria and Glam, and how they got together, and I love them so much. So I'm very excited for that. But yeah, if you want to watch this show, it's on Netflix. Not Netflix. Goodness gracious. It's here on YouTube for completely free. You can watch it in Russian with subtitles or the English dub. Both are good. And there's also a lot of other content, like character Q&As, where you get to learn more about the characters, like they answer questions. And then there's like little cute things like Imagines, where like it's the creators of the show putting the characters into like different like movies and like situations and stuff. Like there's one where the characters are in Harry Potter, and Glam is like like telling all the students like, no, there's no such thing as magic, this is all an illusion. And it's very funny. They're all very funny. And the music. Check out the music, if nothing else. It's so freaking good. Pathologist, my goat. Anyway. Yeah. Well, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun making this one. And if you stuck around for the whole thing, thank you. I know it was a bit long, but yeah, I had a lot to say. So I should have a poll up either right now or very soon to decide what my next video will be. It's down to Doki Doki Literature Club and Gilmore Girls, so whatever doesn't win for next week will be the topic for the last video of November. So yeah, so don't stress too much if the thing you want to win doesn't win. It will be talked about before the month is out. I pinky promise. And yeah, I think that's everything important. If you want to subscribe, please do. I would appreciate it. And, let me know who your favorite character from Middle Family is, if you've seen it, and if you haven't, let me know if you're now interested in watching it. And I hope that you have a great night, day, or whatever time it is where you are. Cheers!